thing about the first film, I think, is just we were seeing it all for the first time, and we were hearing it all for the first time. And the feeling that I have from that film is wonder, just awe. And I think that's in fact part of what this film is playing with, is how do we regain that sense of wonder.
There's a legacy with the first Jurassic Park. Gary Rydstrom taught us what a dinosaur sounds like. Nobody knew what a dinosaur sounded like. With the raptors, with the T-Rex, with the Brachiosaurus. These were sounds that could have been anything, and yet what Gary created is the only sound they could ever be now. And so there's that legacy that we were very respectful of and had no intention of touching. And in addition, with that legacy is that bar, that caliber of sound design that we just wanted to at least fall comfortably in with those other sounds and make it feel like it belonged in that world. The new dinosaurs, of course, as is always the case, it's bigger, it's badder, it's, got more teeth. And so rather than trying to top the T-Rex, it is part Rex, but it's part of a lot of other things. And so we had the freedom to go outside of the Rex world. We were sure to try and keep them distinct. So in that respect, we chose not to use similar sounds from the T-Rex, which helped. It made our job a little less challenging to try and match the T-Rex. We leaned with higher frequencies. It's more tweaked, it's more irritable, it's more spastic, it's a mutant. And so rather than being this very bold, deep bellow that the Tyrannosaur is, we went with something that was screamy and squealy, and at one point Colin used the term annoying. You just want this thing, you hate it. And we definitely needed to give it mass. So there's walrus in it, there's whale, there's beluga whale, there's lion, there's big pigs. So a lot of the body of the Indominus, to give it its size, is still large animals. But then there's lots of screamy animals in it that hit the higher frequencies, using things like dolphins and using monkeys and lots of macaques and spider monkeys. We used a fennec fox that was just really irritated and squealy. So finding other frequencies of animals to manipulate helped us to create a broader palette.
The Mosasaur, that's one that I sort of took the lead on, the big underwater dinosaur. I needed something with weight. I think the basis of it is walrus, but pitched in different ways. But there's also, because it's an aquatic dinosaur, definitely reached for whale. I think it was a beluga. So, finding a way for one sound to hand off to the other, for them to sometimes live together in the same space. A lot of times what makes that work is pitch matching. If you can have something that's low and have something that's higher but it's in an octave, then it can blend as one thing. And then one can hand off to the other. I noticed with the walrus there was sort of a guttural that it would make that had a very watery kind of sound to it. So that's definitely part of what helped it feel like a water creature rather than a land creature. But I actually didn't end up finding another walrus that sounded like the one I had recorded. So I think just like people, animals have a very unique voice. And so the point of doing many animal recordings is not just to cover check lion, check tiger, check bear, but it is actually, well, that bear, that lion, that, as opposed to they're individuals and they have a unique voice. And I think that's a part of the key of making an individual dinosaur sound like an individual.
There. You see, I told you. You're welcome. Up close and personal with 4 Dinosauruses.
And Kylosaurus. We shouldn't be here. And there's 5 dinosaurs.
Aren't you supposed to be a genius or something? Look. 1, 2, 3, 4.
5.
There's a scene with the Apatosaurus, and it's the only practical effect in the film. And it had to be as real as we could possibly make it. So we asked Foley to do some skin movement and some just head on grass and all of this texture that we needed, as intimate as we could get with these animals to bring them to life. These animals aren't real just because they roar and vocalize. They have to breathe, and when they're running, they're like racehorses or dogs. And so a lot of focus was put into the breaths of the animals as well. So that Foley texture and those breaths are, I think, really what happens in between the vocals that makes you believe that these things they're real. We had a great time creating the footsteps for the raptors. We did some great outdoor Foley. Steve Orlando, who helped us set up these amazing outdoor landscapes. And being here on the ranch, we have such a great resource. You know, we don't walk out onto a parking lot in the middle of Burbank Boulevard. We are out remote, so we can do some really fun stuff that you would normally have to drive 40 or 50 miles to access. And we set up this outdoor pit of wood chips and different branches and things, and we had Benny Burt, one of our Foley effects editors, go out and act like a raptor. We took these DPA mics and we attached them to his feet. And then we had myself and Nia Hansen and Scott Coteau all out with recorders chasing Benny around as he ran around like a raptor.
The gyrosphere was another thing that was sort of in my world. And that's a really tricky one because it's a vehicle that doesn't exist, and it's certainly a wonder of science if it exists. And it was obviously a computer graphic in the way that it moved, the glass spinning around it. That's something that Colin said from the beginning, is the gyrosphere is a major sound cell. So we had to find a way to give that some texture, some life, make it feel real. So I did a lot of glass recordings. One of the things I did was I took a glass carboy, big 5-gallon jar, and put a microphone inside, but because I wanted to spin it and I can't have a cable off the end that's getting tangled, I put it on a potter's wheel so that it would spin. So I put the microphone in and I put a wireless transmitter on the microphone, ran that to a wireless receiver. And so it's a freestanding, free spinning thing, and then I was able to take different wheels, different objects, and sort of rub it along the outside of the carboy, get the glass resonance from the inside, and could vary speed it so it's speeding up and down.
All along, I think the best part about it was, working with Pete, working with Gwen, working with all of these amazing creative folks. And for me, I'm very proud of how it sounds, and I'm very proud and pleased that Colin is happy. I'm very, very proud and pleased that Gary is happy. And so at the end of it all, I'm very pleased and proud that everybody who had invested so much time and creative effort from the very first film all the way through to this one felt like, yes, we delivered.